Hey, I want to talk to you about the COVID-19 crisis that we have on our hands from a spiritual perspective. A lot of people seem to think it's a kind of cosmic event, and I understand why we all feel that way. It's huge, it's enormous, it's all of those things that we know it is. We know it's those things intellectually, we know it's those things viscerally, because this has affected every system, both external and internal, that we live with as human beings in America today and around the world. So let's talk some metaphysics. Every cell in the human body, every cell in the body of any creature is assigned. And in the human body, a cell is assigned to the lungs, a cell is assigned to the heart, a cell is assigned to the bones, etc. And every cell is assigned to collaborate with other cells to serve the healthy functioning of the organ and the organism of which they are part. And the cell knows its assignment through a kind of natural intelligence. Sometimes, for reasons that scientists understand, and to some extent for reasons that scientists do not understand, a cell disconnects from its natural intelligence. And instead of going where it is assigned to go, it breaks off from that collaborative matrix and instead goes off to do its own thing. It doesn't want to aid the functioning of the lungs. It doesn't want to aid the functioning of the bladder. It doesn't want to aid the functioning of the bones or whatever. And that, of course, is called cancer. Now, that is a malignancy not only in the body, but it is also a malignancy when the same thing happens in consciousness, because that is what has happened to the human race. We have been infected with a malignant consciousness. And just as one cell breaks itself off from the rest of the collaborative matrix in the body and says, I want to do my own thing, I don't want to just exist to help the lungs or the bones, I want to go do my own thing, and that's a tumor, that's a cancer. The same thing happens in the human race. The malignant consciousness that we have been infected by is the very thought that it's all about me. And that malignant consciousness is what must be healed. Because our economic systems support it, our healthcare system supports it. So many of the ways that we function as human beings has to do with any individual person or group trying to get theirs. It's all about what I can get. It's all about me, or it's all about my small group, as opposed to it's all about collaborating with everyone else in order to serve the healthy functioning of the whole. And that is the deep, deep root in terms of consciousness of all social pathology, because social pathology is created by human behavior. So the idea that it's all about me leads to irreverence towards others. And that's where we have been. We have been irreverent towards the earth. We've been irreverent towards other people. We've been irreverent towards our bodies. We've been irreverent towards animals. And that is literally a level of insanity. And that insanity has then informed how we function in human civilization. In the United States, we've always strived to be better than that and to balance individual liberty with a concern for the common good. That's always been the highest American ideal, that we're both. We have this rugged individualism that means that everybody can do what they want to do as long as it doesn't hurt someone else. But the problem is we've moved from rugged individualism to rugged narcissism, because we've transitioned from you can do whatever you want to do as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else to just do whatever you want to do. And if it hurts somebody else, well, if you have the money to make it happen or whatever, good for you. And so much chaos has resulted. And that's not just in our country, it's the way human society and human civilization now organizes itself. Now, from a spiritual perspective, the universe is both self-organizing and self-correcting. Now, what do I mean by that? It's self-organizing in that something is behind all that natural intelligence whereby the body organizes itself. The cells organize themselves. And you're breathing right now. Your heart is beating right now. Your lungs are breathing right now. It's extraordinary the way nature organizes itself. But when humanity, due to the miscreative exercise of free will, goes against that natural intelligence, then all manner of illness and disease and dysfunction occurs, whether it's in the human body or in the human mind or in society. because that natural intelligence, when related to human society, has to do with our capacity to love each other. When we love each other, we work together. That's what the collaborative matrix is of cells in society. And as I was saying, whether it had to do with something in a wet market or whether it had to do with something in a lab, that irreverence towards nature, irreverence towards land, earth, and people was at root cause. So what that means is that we've thrown ourselves out of the natural intelligence of the universe as it relates to human civilization. And now we're into the next phase, which is the universe's ability and propensity towards self-creation. It's the same thing as the immune system in the body. It's the same thing as what is essentially an immune system in the psyche. I mean, it's amazing how much injury and assault and sickness the human body can handle and improve. One of the things that's talked about a lot with the coronavirus, obviously, is how's your immune system, because the body at its best handles problems. And the psyche is the same. We have a psychic immune system too. The human psyche can take an amazing amount of heartbreak and stress and anxiety and integrate it and transform from it when we know how to work with the psychic immune system. What's happening right now is that the universe is in full gear. The immune system of human civilization. Where do you see it? You see it in the heroism of the doctors and the nurses and the hospital personnel and the first responders and the grocery clerks and the people delivering things and the people taking care of garbage and the people who are taking care of old people who are alone, people who are fighting for fair and just bailout packages. Some of the politicians around the country who are doing really good work, the scientists, people who are striving for cure, for treatment, for vaccine. I mean, it is extraordinary the things that are going on as the immune system of human civilization goes into full effect. One way or the other, we are going to be able to survive this. Human civilization will survive this. But the issue is, once we get this immune system, which is already striving, who are we going to be on the other side of this? Sickness is the absence of health. Health is not the absence of sickness. So the problem is not just that sickness arrived and now we have to create health. The problem is that we were not in a condition of health. If we had been in a condition of health, this would never have happened, including the fact that our own systems, not just our healthcare systems, but all of our systems having to do with response. We had a system that was basically set up, whether it has to do with biological problems such as this, whether it has to do with climate problems, whether it has to do with nuclear. We have a system that's basically set up to handle one problem. But we weren't anywhere even close to collective catastrophe. We're not set up to take care of collective catastrophe because collective means long-term common good. And we have transferred our resources in this country, particularly over the last 40 years. We have transferred from a balance between resources in the direction of individual profit and individual liberty to what used to be a balance between that and protection and care of the common good, to such an imbalance and an overemphasis on short-term profit as opposed to long-term good. And that's that malignant consciousness. Is that what we're going to do on the other side of this? Because this thin ice we've been skating on regarding pandemics, we are on equally thin ice regarding nuclear issues. We are on equally thin ice regarding climate change. We are on skating on very, very thin ice and very, very close, walking very, very close to the cliff. Not just on this issue, but on all kinds of issues, because we are so obsessive about using the resources of our government as a handmaiden to forces that really, they're just about, you can make more money. You can make more money faster, as opposed to the universal application of the principle that everyone should, to the best of our ability, have a fair shot here. That's why we should have universal health care. That's why we should have better education, all the way up through higher education for everyone. That is why we should remove the college loans in order to liberate the human spirit. When you give people a chance to thrive, the creativity, the productivity, the ingenuity of the American people, like all human beings, just give people a chance. You want a great economy? Let people thrive. Don't make the guiding principle of your public policy that which will help the short-term profit maximization of whoever has the money, their hundreds of millions of dollars, to lobby Congress, whether it's health insurance companies or big pharmaceutical companies or gun manufacturers, food companies, big ag, oil and gas, defense contractors. That kind of corporate aristocracy and putting over the resources of our government at the hands of just a few industries, that's what got us here. Does it have to get worse than this? Now, please don't go into, well, somebody's handling it, because clearly they're not. We used to think government was handling it. Our government has been hijacked by those same corporate aristocratic forces. And some of the places where we thought we could look for something different, it's a whole other topic. What's going to happen now, if we are to really change direction, is something happens inside us. That's what has to happen now. Something different has to happen inside us. If we're going to change the world, and we need to change the world, it's going to begin with a change in us. So, there's a self-purification process, Gandhi said, that precedes political activism. And it's time. So, whatever that means for you, I know for me it has to do with identifying things in my personality. Gotta work on this, gotta work on that. Drop that, Marianne, drop that. Become more of this. Pray more, meditate more, read more. Because on the other side of this, starting now, really, with this inner preparation, we're going to have to be quite different in certain ways. What that means for you, that's the thing, you know what it means. We all know. This really isn't about somebody else telling you what you need to hear so much as all of us owning what we already know. We know when we're not quite the people that we should be. We know where we're not the America that we should be. The issue is owning what we know and being willing to rise to the occasion to change what needs to be changed. There's a maturation process. This is big stuff. There's that line, every problem comes bearing its own solution. And I think that applies here right now, because we have enough space, painful as it is, to think deeply about all these things. And if we do, we go deep into the vertical, we're going to work miracles in the horizontal. That's what can come out of this. Or not. We can go for a week and let a whole new authoritarianism do what it will with us. I don't want to do that, and I don't think you do either. We're too good for that. We're going to make things better than they've ever been if we choose to. We're going to clean up the environment. We're going to restore our democracy. We're going to be better people. We're going to educate our children. We're going to take care of our hungry. We're going to completely reform those things that need to be reformed in American society. And we're going to all be able to look back and know that when push came to shove, we did what we had to do. And we can feel good about it. Hold that thought, and so will I.